Good morning, Webster Transitional School. I'm so excited to be here today. My name is Kendall Sass, and I am currently a 7th grade science teacher in Mauston, Wisconsin. I started my career in Mauston 4 years ago, which is actually where I started my teaching career itself. I attended school at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, where I studied natural sciences with a minor in biology and an intent to teach. During my student teaching and my practicum hours, I really found that middle school was my niche. I love the excitement, the energy, and the enthusiasm that these kids bring to school each day, and I love that we are learning together as a team, and together we're making sure that each of us is better and continues to learn each day. I am currently living in Friendship, Wisconsin, which is a small town about 20 minutes north of Wisconsin Dells. During this presentation, you'll find out more about me using different technology tools that I either use in my classroom or encourage my students to use on assignments and projects. I hope you enjoy getting to know a little bit more about me. I can't wait to hear more about Webster Transitional School and each of you as well. The life I live is very simple, but also incredibly full. In my spare time, I really appreciate the time that I get to spend with my husband Mark, who is a 4-star ranger with the Wisconsin DNR, and our dog Ford. I really appreciate the natural beauty that surrounds us in Friendship. We have access to tons of state natural areas, we have trails to bike on, and are able to quickly take our canoe to the Wisconsin River or the backwaters of Castle Rock Lake. Throughout all of these different adventures, I also really like to practice a new hobby of mine, which is photography.
Created using Powtoon.
I like to refer to our classroom as our laboratory and remind students that each day at school is an experiment. This is my teaching philosophy. A day at school is not the same as finding the cure to cancer, reaching the moon, or discovering a new species. Most students don't feel as if they are making this kind of difference or impact. Students don't realize the experiment they have waiting for them each day they come to school. They don't realize the lab group they are a part of or the influence they have on the discoveries they make about themselves, their education, and their world each day. To teach is to provide students with this experiment. It's helping students realize the problem and hypothesize about necessary actions used to find a solution. Education is about letting students test different approaches with light guidance and plenty of motivation. And in the end, learning is about observing throughout the process and reflecting on the conclusion. This is what I strive for as a middle school science teacher. These pictures are students in action in our Maker Lab. The top left picture is our students working with our senator as well as some of our district office staff. The bottom left picture is students using Play-Doh and Makey Makey to create a game controller. And finally on the right I have students who are creating a stop animation video using StickBots and an iPad. These are just a few examples of the many projects my students have completed in this makerspace. I am seriously so excited to share with you the work that I got to do in our school's makerspace this year, or our maker lab. So myself, as well as a small group of teachers, decided to create a space in which failure is not an option and the growth mindset is really embraced. So we worked together and wrote some grants, asked for some donations, and revamped an old computer lab into a place where students get to explore, play, and learn. So this idea really became kind of started with some trainings that I got to attend, including Google Summit as well as WIMTA. And at those trainings, I was hearing a lot of people talking about the power of play. And throughout that process, I knew that I liked what they were saying. I knew that I supported all of their ideas and the studies behind it. And I knew that I needed to bring this into my school. I just wasn't quite sure how. And so our makerspace has allowed for all of those things to happen. Our students go to this space to tinker and play, and from there create individual projects or Genius Hour projects that are tailored to their own interests as well as their own passions. So in this space, students are working on projects that are related to STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And in the projects that they create, they have to show us understanding and their skills in the 4 C's of education, which are communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. So in this space, the amount of collaboration that takes place with students is pretty incredible. We have witnessed tons of barriers being broken down with different peers, and really we've realized the acceptance of students to learn from each other, which is huge. Students have also been forced to communicate with each other, as well as community members, our school board, our senator, a group of teachers from CESA 5 that we brought in to put on a training, and tons of other people who have shown interest in this new addition to our school. Throughout all of this process, they're also constantly using critical thinking. I have students working on projects where they're making a Dance Dance Revolution game using Makey Makey and aluminum pans and Play-Doh. I have another group of students who are creating a garage door opener using Little Bits and Snap Circuits. So the opportunities are endless for them to showcase all of those 4 C's, as well as to create projects that are well within the realms of STEAM. So that is one way that I get to use technology in my classroom. I've also been really, really fortunate to have a one-to-one classroom since the year that I started. So for 4 years, I've had a one-to-one classroom as far as devices go, and I've used Chromebooks. So I've been trained in Google Apps for Education, as well as effectively using these tools or these devices in my room. I took it upon myself to become a Google certified educator, and that has allowed me to train not only my students but also fellow colleagues and staff members about the importance of this technology and the power it has to not only differentiate but also to really individualize learning for our kids. The best thing about my job is the relationships I have with my students. It is so important to get to know each child that enters my room, and through this, I find that our classroom is respectful and safe for all learners. I focus tons of energy on getting to know my students and encouraging them to be their best. I'm a huge believer in the power of positivity and know that with encouragement and support, our students are more likely to be successful. I love the PBIS approach to school expectations and student behaviors, and think this helps students realize how cared for they are in our building. My students inspire me to be the best that I can be and allow me to never stop learning. The energy that 7th graders have is incredible, and their curiosity and determination is something we could all learn from. This is my favorite part of my job. Experimentation and problem solving are important skills for the laboratory that is our life. I am preparing my students for the opportunities that await them. I encourage my students to challenge themselves without getting discouraged, to respect others and themselves, and to explore in order to gain knowledge. I hope my students take chances, reflect on observations, and come to many conclusions throughout their journey through life, and I hope I can continue working on this goal here at Webster Transitional School next year.